Hello everyone. Okay, so today I'm going to show you all how I make roasted tomato soup. So in here I just have a bunch of cherry tomatoes, and these are from my plants on my deck. And here I just have some leftover tomatoes. The smaller ones I'm just going to cut in half. This bigger one I'll probably quarter. We're going to need some olive oil, some garlic, pepper, salt. If you wanted to use white pepper, you can. I have an onion here that I'm just gonna chop up. The garlic I'm gonna go ahead and slice up as well. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're gonna be using, I'm gonna be using an immersion blender. If you have a regular blender, you can definitely use that. It doesn't matter how finely chopped these are because they will get blended up. And we're going to use some chicken broth, some sugar. I'm going to be using this glass pan to roast my tomatoes. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the tomatoes into my pan. We're going to drizzle them with olive oil. I would say at least a quarter of a cup. And then I'm going to just use my hands and make sure it's all mixed together, but I'll show you what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and get the skins off the garlic and slice those. I'm going to slice the onion as well. The sugar and the broth I'm going to just sit to the side because we don't need that yet. So once I get the tomatoes, the garlic, the onion in the pan, with the olive oil, I'm going to just go ahead and sprinkle with black pepper and a little bit of salt. And I'm actually going to go ahead and preheat my oven a while to 375. I will go in occasionally and just stir the tomatoes, but once I get everything into my dish, I will be back to show you what it looks like. Okay, so I actually had to switch pans, which I had a feeling I was gonna have to with all of these tomatoes. So I just have it in this ceramic baking dish here. So I'm going to go ahead and put it into a 375-degree oven. I have the olive oil, salt, pepper, onion, garlic in the pan here. I'm gonna actually set my timer for 20 minutes, and I'm gonna check it every 20 minutes and then give it a stir. I will let you all know how long I cook it for. I will be back. Okay, so I just did my first 20 minutes. I set the timer and I did go ahead and give it a stir. And I did forget one important ingredient at the beginning of this video, which is the butter. You can use salted or unsalted butter. Later into the process, we will be tasting it and adding more salt and pepper if needed. So yeah, we will need butter as well. I wanted to let you know that a while, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put this back into the 375-degree oven, another 20 minutes, and then I'll bring it back out and give it another stir. I won't record the clips every 20 minutes, but I will let you know how long I cook this for. So I will be back. Hello everyone. Okay, so my tomatoes, I let them roast in the oven for 2 hours. And you can see they came down about halfway. So this is a 9 by 13 pan, and it was filled to the very top. So now what I'm gonna do, oh, and just to let you know, I did go in every 20 minutes and I did stir them. You will see they will start to get some like charred. Some of the tomatoes will do it, and also some of the onions. When I went in to stir every 20 minutes, I just stirred it, and then, the top layer would get a little charred, and that is perfectly fine. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna transfer this entire dish, all the juice included, and then I'm going to put I have 2.5 cups of chicken broth. I'm gonna pour that into this pan afterwards, just to make sure I get all of the bits out. Once we do that, gonna pour that into my pan as well, and then you're gonna add 4 tablespoons of butter, and I have 3 tablespoons of sugar. I do have the remainder of the chicken broth, which I may end up using all of it. It just depends how brothy it gets. And I do still have my salt and pepper here if needed, but salt and pepper will be a while. So go ahead and just put everything into your pan. Go ahead and pour your broth into your baking dish to clean it all out and get all of that delicious flavor. Go ahead and add your 4 tablespoons of butter and your 3 tablespoons of sugar. And like I said, this is a 9 by 13 and it was to the very top of with tomatoes. Now I wouldn't be able to give you an actual pound amount, but it was definitely a lot of tomatoes. And then what we're gonna do is you're gonna go ahead and turn the heat on to medium high. We're just gonna bring it up to a little simmer. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my immersion blender and we're gonna get it nice and smooth, or as smooth as possible. So once I get to that step, I will be back to show you. Okay, just wanted to pop back on here to let you guys know I did end up using the entire 32-ounce container of chicken broth, and that's where it got me, about half a pan full. So now I'm gonna go in with my 3 tablespoons of sugar and my 4 tablespoons of butter. I just turned the heat up to 6. I have an electric stove, so we're just gonna bring this up to a simmer. Once it comes to the simmer, I'm going to remove it from the heat and use my immersion blender, and I will show you what it looks like after that. Okay, we are coming to a simmer, so I'm just going to remove it from the heat. I'm going to use my immersion blender here. If you do not have an immersion blender, you can use a regular blender. However, make sure that you do it in small batches because hot soup expands, and if you try to put too much of this hot soup into a blender and try to blend it, it will explode. And yeah, so definitely either wait until it cools down or just do it in really small batches. So I'm going to go ahead and get this smooth. Oh, and also if you wanted to leave it a little bit chunky, you can definitely do that. I'm going to smooth it out as much as I can with my blender. And once I do that, I will be back. Okay, my homemade roasted tomato soup is done. I did go ahead and add some more black pepper and some salt, and you're just going to add salt and pepper to taste, whatever your preference is. And I did add an additional 2 tablespoons of sugar, and that's just my preference, just to cut down on the acidity a little bit. So I did return it back to the stove, and I just have it on low, and I'm just going to let it sit here for maybe 15-20 minutes, and then it will be time to give it a taste. So once I get to that point and I make myself a grilled cheese, I will be back. Okay, my homemade roasted tomato soup is done. And then I just made myself a grilled cheese, so let's go ahead and give it a taste. Oh my goodness, that looks so good. Hopefully I don't burn my mouth. Oh my goodness. Wow, that's delicious. And then of course, you know, we have to dip the grilled cheese. Dip the grilled cheese. Oh man. Wow. That's amazing. And tomato soup also freezes very well if you just put it in an airtight container. That is delicious. Absolutely delicious. For me, adding those 2 extra tablespoons of sugar, perfect. Perfect, perfect. So if you have a lot of tomatoes from your garden and you don't know what to do with them, you can definitely make some homemade roasted tomato soup. Delicious. And another thing, you can also, if you wanted to add a couple dashes of heavy cream or heavy whipping cream, you definitely can. Another thing you can do is you could add some red pepper flakes, or if you like basil, you could add some basil. I'm telling you, it's amazing. I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I hope y'all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you on the next one. Bye, everyone.